We live in a world that has a lot of distractions. Every day we go through distractions. And as a believer, it's always good if we can encourage ourselves and strengthen us by the things that we listen to and the things that we watch. And we know more and more every day it's getting harder to watch things that don't have things of the world, things that are more wholesome. But a lot of us, I'm sure a lot of you guys listen to Christian music, but I'm going to be talking to you about Messianic music or Messianic Jewish music. But before I do, I wanted to show my new Bible that I just purchased. It's called the Messianic Jewish Literal Translation. And I'm kind of excited to start studying out of this one. It's only the New Testament. And but if you want more information on this, I think it's really worth it. Just go to mjlt.org, and he compares it to a couple of other Messianic Bibles out there. And I think it's a good choice. And so I just wanted to show you that. So, it's good to listen to Christian radio. I know I was listening to it the other day, and I started realizing we really need to be careful, not just the music, but the teachings on there. And I'll talk about one of the teachings on my next video that was brought up to me when I was at work listening in the van. And but some of these, I've been finding out that some of these Christian artists that used to sing have denounced their faith in Jesus. And I thought to myself, I don't want to listen to their music if they've done that. But what's even worse is that somebody who really isn't born again, who's actually still making music and that's still popular. And I'm sure there's more than one, but there's one girl in particular who I like her music. She's really talented. Her name is Lauren Daigle. And somebody asked her a question. I'm not going to say what it was because I don't want to get any strike on this video. But somebody asked her a question that any born again person would speak up and say what they believe according to the Bible. But she didn't do that. She was for that sin that God said was an abomination. She basically supported it and thought that, teaching that God's all about love, something along that line. So when I hear her music, there's a lot of music that I hear, it doesn't really is saying anything about God, giving any glory and praises to him. And so we need to be careful. And there's nothing wrong with listening to Christian radio because we only have so many choices out there. And if there's a song that does give praises to God, does give praises to Yeshua, Jesus, and it encourages us, I think that's great. It's great to listen to that rather than to other regular radio channels. And not that there's anything wrong with listening to secular music, but you have to be careful because a lot of times that'll take you back. It's not going to keep your heart and your mind focused on God. It's just pretty much another distraction. It could take you away into another time instead of building you up. So I wanted to talk about Messianic music or Messianic Jewish music. When I first discovered this, and I hope that you guys, if you haven't listened to it before, you've heard a little bit on my channel in the background, but if you haven't heard it before, I encourage you to go on YouTube and look it up, type in Messianic music, and I'm going to give you some names that I remember listening to. And when I first discovered it, I enjoyed it so much that I started an online radio station called WSTW.FM. And my gosh, God opened the doors for me with that ministry. He ended up taking me to Israel. And in the middle of summer, and I had my job. I wasn't technically supposed to go because I didn't have, in the summertime, because I wasn't able to hold seniority. I didn't have that much seniority. And other people with more seniority got the summer off. And I always had to go in the beginning of the year or the end of the year. But that year, God opened up doors and I went. But that's another story. So Messianic music is is music that it's similar to Christian music, but instead of saying Jesus, they use some Hebrew words. They'll say Yeshua. They'll say, instead of saying Lord, they'll say Adonai. It's English, but they also sing in Hebrew, or else you'll have a mixture of them both. But it's beautiful because one thing I noticed about Messianic music was that it was all about Jesus. There was no question. It was all about him. And some songs they would actually take, let's say like a certain psalm, and they would take scripture from the Bible and sing that psalm or sing that chapter of the Bible. And so they would be not just reading the Bible, they would be singing it. And it was just amazing to me. And so it really encourages me in my walk. But one thing I did notice, my gosh, how long ago was that? That was over 20 years ago. But when I first started listening to it, the Messianic music then is a little bit different than what it is now, because now there's a lot of Israeli Messianic Jews that are making music, and it does sound a little bit different. You have more Hebrew in there, and but there's still some beautiful songs in there, and they still believe in Yeshua and Jesus, and but it's also good. There's a lot of good songs in there too. It's a different. It's different than Christian music, as in it is more Middle Eastern a little bit. Some of it is, but it's just beautiful. But some of the artists, I'm not going to be able to say them all, but some of the ones that stand out in my mind are Jonathan Settel. If you could look him up sometime, he has some great music out there. He passed away not too long ago, and but he has good music. There's a man by the name of Joel Chernoff, who he has music, and he actually started the group Lamb, I think, during the 60s or 70s. And I think that was some of the first Messianic music out there, or well-known Messianic music out there. But Lamb is some of the older ones, but they are still have a lot of good songs to them. Another one of my favorites is Avner and Rachel Boski. And I think they might be from Tennessee, but they live in Israel. Avner and Rachel Boski. Then you have Karen Davis. Karen Davis is also a good one. Her and her husband moved to Israel some years back, and he passed away, but she still sings at a congregation. And there's for the Spanish Hebrew, which I play him sometimes, is Adam Ben Joshua. I play him sometimes in the background. And he's got some beautiful songs too. It's not just for Spanish speakers. I mean, it's got Spanish and Hebrew in there, but the song is just beautiful. His songs. I mean, all these artists' songs are beautiful. So if you could look up any of those and look up Messianic music or Messianic Jewish music and kind of play around with the words, you'll probably start getting more videos that are related to that, and you'll see just how wonderful Messianic music is. And I just wanted to share it with you because not everybody knows about them, but I think it's like a treasure for all believers. I mean, if you're a believer, it's a treasure for you, and it's going to be something that is going to encourage you in your walk, because we live in a dark world, and to find out some of these artists would be is a wonderful gift, I think. So it might be harder to get some of the older ones, the names I mentioned, CDs. You might still be able to get them. I'm sure you can, but it's going to probably be a little bit harder. And there's also some websites that might sell tracks you could probably get to if you want them as well. So I just wanted to share that with you, because we live in a world where there's a lot of things going on in this world. And I don't know if you noticed, but we need to be paying attention and be preparing ourselves so we can protect our families, our loved ones, and we need to be encouraging ourselves by what we watch and what we listen to. And I believe Messianic music can be a blessing to you in your life. I know I have had some listeners on my online radio station that reached out to me and said, what a blessing, I never heard of this music till you had your station. And they were they loved it. So, and I hope you guys do too. I hope you love it as well. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Sabbath, and may God bless you and keep you.